We are live.
Woo! We're live. Woohoo! Love it.
Hello. Hey, I was like almost there, so I'm not so many people talking on. Oh my god.
Yes! You're on tag, somebody.
Please text us and let us know that we are good. We're just gonna give this like 1 minute while I write down Sorry. I'm posting in the wrong groups. Okay, we'll probably use the viewers not going up like crazy. I wish I could be a fun DJ and create it out, but I can't. Like, it's Pandora's on or off. But music's off. Alex is on go.
Awesome. Hey guys, thanks so much for hopping on tonight. I am hoping that you brought a ton of energy. You're super pumped. And guess what? We're going to make you magnetic tonight, not only just for your audience, but for your goals. And we're going to help you get so much more clarity and so much excitement around those. So I'm super excited to kick us off tonight. I'm Alex, and I have such an honor of joining some of the most amazing women in this company, and also Cara is going to be hopping on soon. So I get to kick us off tonight. Welcome to all the teams that are on. High five to Renegade Society, Misfit Republic, and Brittany, what's your team's name one more time?
Transformation.
Transformation. Woo! Woo! All right. All right, all right, all right. Okay, so we wanted to give you a little bit of a background as to why this call came into fruition. So we're all coaches here. We met and we just clicked. Like, you ever meet people and you just like I said earlier, just magnetized to them. It just felt like they were just divinely placed in your life to help take you to the next level. This is this group right here. And so we are kind of chit-chatting about like what this business does for us, what our goals are long-term, where we're going, where we feel our gifts are needed in the world. And we help each other kind of bring those into fruition. And we're here to help you guys do the same thing tonight. So we're talking about this call, and we're like, if we could only help people just get a little bit more clear around, like, you know, who they are and why they're here, and find that motivation that's not just going to push them out of bed, but it's going to pull them out of bed. Like, you can't wait to like put your feet on the ground and get to work and just go make a difference in the world. So that's where this call kind of came about. And we wanted to share with you guys some of our stories, where we started, how Beachbody is that catalyst to get you there. You know, Beachbody is not the end all be all for like everybody, but it's that thing that, you know, you might be sitting on this call thinking, I know I'm meant to do something great. It's in me, but I just don't know what it is yet. But I know that it's big, and I know that I'm here on purpose, and I know this wasn't placed in my life on accident. So we're going to help you figure that out tonight, and also share with you how to make Beachbody something that's not just a fad for you. You know, all of us have been doing this for a few years. I think, Mom, you're like 7 years in right now? Yes, 7 years in. And it's really, really easy when things get hard to back away, or when life gets heavy to say, you know, you guys, just as a forewarning, we're going to swear on this call. So I'm just going to like put it all out there and just say, you know, when life gets heavy, it's so easy to be like, fuck it, I'm done. I'm walking away. But you're not like that. That's a cowardly way out. And we're showing you guys tonight how you make that longevity stick, how you find that purpose, and how that's going to pull you to do bigger and greater things in this world. And so I'm so super excited to share with you. And I know the other girls are too. So we've got some amazing speakers coming on. Woo! All right. Anything else you want me to talk on, Heatherly, real quick?
I think that was awesome. I think just to, you know, obviously, you know, this has been a busy day. It's been a busy week. We've got all kinds of like crazy stuff happening with natural disasters in Texas and in Florida. And so I just wanted to kind of start this call with a meditation. You can call it prayer, you can call it whatever the heck you want to call it, just to center ourselves and be ready to receive whatever we are meant to receive tonight. So if you will join me in that would be amazing. I'm going to close out my Facebook. I just wanted to check and make sure technical wise that everybody could see us. So if you'll place your feet on the floor, if you can do that, place your feet on the floor. Hands go on your lap. Turn upward just in a receiving motion. If that doesn't vibe with you, hands like this, whatever vibes with you is cool. God, angels, universe, please be with us tonight. We are ready and willing to receive everything that is meant for us. Please speak through the speakers tonight and let us just drop that into our hearts. Whatever, vision needs to come through for us, let us integrate that into this beautiful gift that we've been given of this business opportunity of infusing health and fitness into the lives of others, truly changing the generations that will come well after us. Just open our hearts to receive, open our minds to expand, and let us take inspired action for whatever hits tonight. Thank you so much. All right, so we are waiting for our special speaker. She is finishing her Soul Cycle class, which is amazing because we know those endorphins will be pumping. We know what workouts endorphins do. But until that point, Brittany is just gonna share with us a little bit about who our special speaker is, why we are so honored that she is here, and then we're just gonna go from there. But I think it's nice to kind of have that background and have that like, holy cow, we're about to hear from this person moment.
Okay, guys, I am so excited that you guys are here with us. Just so that we know that you are hanging out with us and really on point with us tonight and loving what you are hearing and really in tune with us. Use that group chat because we can all see that. We can know if you have questions as we go along the way. If you have a specific question for Cara, we do have a limited time with Cara. So I want to make sure that we don't, really flood her with a whole lot. But, if you have something that you want her to reiterate on that she's speaking, we can definitely try to do that. Utilize that group chat so that we can get in touch. And this is a party, you guys. Like, I have my little mini bottle of wine. We're here to have fun tonight. And we're not like screaming at you. We're not like talking at you. We are simply trying to just be in the moment and have fun tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and give you a little bit of insight into who we have coming. If you have maybe been living under a rock, our speaker tonight is Cara Alwill-Leyba. And you guys, I can't even explain to you how amazing this woman has been for me and for my life. And I hope that she's touched your lives as well. She has read Girl Code. She has that book. She's written so many books. I just wish she was here, like right this second. She's just getting off of Soul Cycle, so I've been kind of trying to watch. But not only is Cara just the author of Girl Code and all that amazing stuff, she is actually self-published 5 different books. And each one of those has been a bestseller in one category or multiple categories on Amazon. She has Fearless and Fabulous, Sparkle, Style Your Mind workbook. I'm right now, I'm going to seriously go into like a trance because I'm not going to remember all the names. But she, when it comes down to self-help and helping women reach their potential, her tagline on her podcast is, she loves to help women that are on the verge of change. Like when you are at that point and you just need that little extra push to go, she is your woman and she's going to do it. Her podcast is called Style Your Mind. So if you are a listener like I am, go and subscribe to her podcast right away. And I'm going to let her tell you about her journey as far as and I'm going to let her tell you the name of her most recent, it's not out yet, what's coming down the pipeline and how she's gotten to where she is today with this upcoming book is basically what we're going to have her speak on tonight. It was like 3 or 4 years ago, and I came across a post on Instagram, and it was a picture from Cara on Instagram that was her Fearless and Fabulous book. And it just so happened that week or day, I don't know, whatever happened, the universe brought me to that because it was a free download on Kindle. Well, at the time, I was broke as hell, and free books, I will take it. I think I downloaded that book and read it in maybe 6 hours. I mean, it was like done, ran through it so quickly. And I knew in that moment that I had this connection with her. I remember there being a line in that book, something along the lines of eating French fries and drinking Pinot Noir or something along those lines. And I was like, holy shit, this is my girl. Like, I need to get to know her. I need to know what she does, who she is. I need to stalk everything about her. immediately after, I downloaded her other 2 books, which I then paid for. And it was about a month afterwards, she was talking about group coaching calls. And when I say that I didn't have the money at that time, I mean, I didn't really have the money at that time. I was in my business, but it wasn't to the point where I could just like throw money around and hire coaches and take these big leaps. But it was a group coaching. And it brought me to, hang on. It brought me to really start connecting weekly with like 5 or 6 other women. And we got to know each other, and having that time with Cara was amazing for me. So much that then I went on to do a private mentorship over the last couple of years with Cara. And I'm just so grateful to, you know, have her as my friend and my mentor that I don't even know. Like, I can't even explain what she's done for me. And we're still kind of waiting here for her to hop on. So if you have, again, use that chat. If you have something, if you love one of her books, let us know. What do you love about Cara? I'm going to post her, or
am I supposed to be able to
huh?
Am I supposed to actually do that?
I'm breaking up. What? I missed it.
I didn't know if I'm actually supposed to be able to see the chat.
Oh, I can see it. You can't see it?
No, maybe not, but that's fine. I don't want to see it.
If you go,
How about everyone who's on? Please say hello. Like, first off, let's see who's on here.
Let us know who's here. Yeah, Girl Code was a game changer. There's like random stuff. That's what I'm supposed to be saying. I don't know. You guys, me and technology.
okay, I don't think I can see it either.
You
Like,
saw it. You saw it.
It's good. If Brittany is monitoring the chat, we're good.
I can see the chat.
She's got our link, so she'll be here in just 2 seconds.
Yay! Let us know. Do you have sparkling water? I have all the liquids. It's all the things tonight. If y'all don't have Perrier, is that how you say it fancy?
Perrier.
Never.
Very nice. Water.
I'm just
In the grapefruit and the wine and all the things. So let us know what you've got tonight, and we're just gonna hang out and chill. And oh my God, I needed this. So I'm so ready to hang with you guys.
I wonder if this chat is only showing us. Like, I wonder if they're like trying to chat.
I thought it was like the live on YouTube chat. I think this group chat that we're seeing is like between the 5 of us.
Got it.
Hello, everybody.
That's why nobody can answer.
I was like, is no one on? Like, well, that just means that you can run.
Okay, yes. So if you open up and just mute the video, I don't know how to like do this easily, but if you open up the YouTube link, then we can actually see their chats. What we're seeing is just talking to each other.
Okay, hang on, I'm gonna try that.
I'm like covering up windows so I don't get distracted.
Okay, so we have water, drink ready. Okay, I have 2 screens. That's why I look like I'm doing.
Yeah. You guys are probably like, okay,
Yes,
we're talking to you. Why do you keep telling us to keep talking to you? Sorry, guys. Plum wine. Ooh, I've never had plum wine.
Ooh, where does that come from?
Yeah, we need that in our lives.
Is it like overly sweet or is it good?
We can't do the super sweet.
Me neither.
I'm getting such sweet messages about the meditation. That's really sweet. Thank you.
You nailed that, girl. That was
It's actually the first time I've ever done a guided meditation. Obviously, I've done a lot, but that's the first time I've ever led one. So that was really sweet. Thank you, guys. Thanks for letting me know. I didn't like royally jack that up.
You did amazing. Here's Hi. Hello. Sorry, I'm like not at my most glamorous moment tonight, and I had to make my post-workout shake. Yeah. So sorry for the delay.
Here's to recovery.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, we will keep going. Cara, just to kind of get you up to speed, I basically just kind of started, okay, do I have an echo somewhere now?
Yeah. Is that for me? Hold on, let me see. It could be my I have an external speaker. Let me switch it. Okay, try now.
Okay. Yep, good.
Oh wait,
so
now I can't hear you.
To speed, I basically just kind of gave a little bit of a run through of.
Hold on, now I can't hear anything. Sorry, guys.
See, technical difficulties, guys. Don't worry. We don't pretend to have it all together. Ever.
Let me try. Sorry.
A lot of money and not have technical skills. It's fine. Clearly.
Okay.
Are you good?
Still don't hear anything.
Still not hearing anything? Go screen a little set. Oh, she can't hear me. Why am I talking?
Group chat.
Hang on, yeah. Let's see here.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Can you hear me talking?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I can't hear you. So, hold on.
You hear us now?
Can't hear anything.
Oh. Okay. Let's see here.
Brittany, do you want to text her and tell her just to like jump out and jump back in, and maybe that'll like something's working?
We should try that.
Okay.
I'm gonna close
Hold on,
out.
Brittany.
Guys,
I don't know how to work the machine.
Okay, you guys will. Oh my
Okay,
god.
hold on.
I have to tell you,
Hit the gear
a
in
little.
those settings. All right. I'm trying to find where my gear is.
Oh,
Hold on.
I have to tell you a quick little story. Yesterday, I was texting with her about this call, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I really need to learn how to use the Zoom." And I was like, "The Zoom? Really, Carol? Like how?" She goes, "No. I mean, just how to host them." I'm like, "Oh, okay. So we need to teach the granny how to work the Google and get the machine going." Okay, sounds great.
we can tell her, like, everybody was like, "Hey, thank you so much for setting up this link." And I was like, "You guys, I don't know how to do this. My assistant did." Like, do not give me any kind of credit I do not deserve.
Oh my god, I love it. Go, Carrie.
I don't know what I do without Melissa. Melissa sets everything up.
I know how to do so little. But I'm a hero amongst my peers.
Yay. Okay. I put my headphones in.
Yay!
Oh,
Okay.
Yay!
Sorry, guys. I'm like a
So-
tornado tonight.
okay, I'm gonna be out of wine by the time we even get this thing rolling.
I brought the bottle with me because I was like, maybe I'll need to refill in the middle of our.
Good call.
Okay, so Cara, just to give you a little backstory and where we were at, I basically just kind of went through and gave them a rundown of how I found you, what you've done for me, the mentorship that we've worked together. And so we didn't get into anything like specific yet. You just missed all the praises that I had for you. That's all. So, but you know that.
Thank you.
So where was I here? See, now I told you guys I have notes. But let's just kind of dig right in. And so before we get into kind of the meat of what I want to talk to you about and what we want you to share, why don't you, for those of you that are listening that may not know your whole story, why don't you give us just a quick little backstory of how you got to where you are?
Sure. So thank you so much, guys, for having me. I really appreciate it. Like Brittany said, we've been working together for a long time now. Brittany was one of my clients a couple of years ago, and we got closer through all of that. And she's kind of seen me in almost every phase of my journey. I started back in 9 years ago with a blog. I was working a full-time job at MTV. It was a really soul-sucking job. I didn't love it at all. I was totally like just every single day I felt like there was something else for me. But it was a job that I took as a stepping stone. I thought it was going to lead to something else, to a creative career in the music industry, which is initially what I wanted to do. I always wanted to be a writer. And through that time when I was at MTV, I kind of went through my own sort of transformation, like physically, spiritually, emotionally, kind of like on every level. And it was really sparked by a glass of champagne, which sounds crazy, but I was looking for something that I could drink as part of a like healthier lifestyle. And a friend of mine turned to me at MTV and she was like, just start drinking champagne. Like, what's wrong with you? I was like, okay, like, why? I'm down, but like, why? And she explained that champagne is 100 calories and it's one of the lightest things you can drink and blah, blah, blah. Long story short, I started drinking champagne when I went out, or if I wanted to just relax at night with something, because it was a lighter cocktail. But I quickly realized that champagne was going to become a major metaphor for me in my life. And it was really going to kind of symbolize this sort of feeling of learning how to celebrate everything and learning how to be grateful for everything and finding reasons to celebrate every day. Because when I was in this place, when I was discovering my new love for champagne, and I was, you know, I was in a bad relationship, I was in a job I didn't like, I was overweight, I wasn't working out, I wasn't being healthy, I wasn't really being true to myself at the end of the day. And champagne sort of weirdly enough became this thing, this trigger for me. So I started a blog and I called it the Champagne Diet. And it really was kind of named after a champagne diet, I guess you could say. But that kind of led to like a whole other path of me really finding that I was connecting with these women who were reading my stories. They were just, it's like exactly, well, not exactly, but similar to kind of what I do today, where I just share. And I always kind of look at everything through life with like a teaching lens, like, and a learning lens. So if something happens to me, you know, I'm looking for a lesson in that, and then I'm trying to teach that lesson back, because I think that's how we grow as women, and I think that's how we bond as women. So my thing from the beginning was always being super vulnerable and transparent, and women were connecting with me from like all over the world, basically, because Twitter and Facebook at the time, those were the two social media platforms that I had to really share my work. You guys know just as much as I do, like, you can meet people from all over the place, all walks of life. And some of the people that I've grown closest to I've actually met online, which is just so crazy. I know you guys can probably relate to that as well. So I really love the connection that I was forming with these women, and I wanted to take it a step further and turn it into a, quote, job. So I went to life coaching school. I put myself through life coaching school while I was at MTV. So I was kind of doing the side hustle thing and going to school at night, and I became a certified master life coach. And that just basically meant that I was able to coach women in one-on-one sessions, in laser coaching sessions, in group sessions. So I kind of like learned everything there was to know about coaching. And then I started writing my books, and now I think I'm on my 7th book, which is fucking insane to say out loud. And I love what I do. I just get to share things that I'm learning in the hopes to inspire and empower other women. And I feel like, you know, I sort of get to things like sometimes maybe like a little bit ahead of the curve. Like I'll start to think something and I'm like, this kind of is how I'm feeling inside. And then I start to see the movement happening, and it makes me so excited, because I feel like what I'm working on now, like with, I think we'll probably get into this, Brittany, because I know this is something that's really important to your girls, like confidence and developing true confidence and learning to love yourself no matter what you look like, no matter what part of your life you're in. I feel like women are starting to kind of get on that bandwagon, but they're not all really there yet. So that's kind of where I'm at, just with my content and my material and everything that I do. And of course, I'm a huge girl power advocate, so I love getting to have opportunities like this to come on and share my story and just share what I've learned and hopefully inspire someone.
I love that. I seriously still get chills every time I hear Bittersweet Symphony on the radio or anything, because that's like your theme song for when you and well, I was always obsessed with it because I love Cruel Intentions, but then it took a whole other turn of things. And
it's such a good song.
It's so good. And but that, you know, like when you have that moment where something so small means so much to you in that time, that it just makes like a complete difference.
It does. And I think, like, I was actually just talking to Ryan last night about this, because I feel like I'm at a point now where I've gotten everything I wanted, and I'm feeling like, what's next? Like, I don't have this like big, huge kind of pie in the sky thing that I'm working on, and I'm trying to figure out what that's going to be. And it feels weird that I don't have that, because I think that's what drives me, and that's what drives all of us. Like, having that thing that you're starving for, that you'll do anything to make it happen. I think that's just like the best feeling in the world. So we'll see what that's going to turn out to be. Who knows?
We think with the same brain, because that's basically my topic to speak on tonight too.
Where do I go from here?
So if you were not at Summit and you were not at the Power of I Am day, I'm like meeting, I'm trying to think of what even to call that. Cara was actually one of our keynote speakers, and she shared some amazing, amazing things regarding the longevity of her business. And like Cara mentioned, I screwed up, and I think I told you that she had 5 books. So now this is 7. So I missed one somewhere. But I was trying to like name them all before, and I was like, I can't even keep up. They're all on the bookshelf behind me, but that's all I got.
I'm like one of those old ladies with like 12 kids where I'm like, oh, Sally, Jane, whatever the fuck your name is, like come over here. Like those are my books.
Love it.
But she spoke, you know, there's been a journey from that one first self-published book and all of those others to where she is now with this newest book. And that is an incredible story. And I want you to kind of share that and how you found yourself wanting to keep going, because there were a lot of issues that happened from the beginning to where you are today. And so like, how did you keep going through that longevity? Kind of give them an insight on that story of the publishing aspect and motivation and whatnot to keep going.
Yeah, so I mean, I always wanted to be a writer. I always wanted to write books. That was my dream from the time I was a little girl. And when I started, I had this whole like champagne epiphany, and I was like, I want to write a book about this. But I knew just from my own experience just in life and having worked in advertising and marketing, like you need a platform. If you're going to get people to buy into your message or your idea and believe in you and build trust with an audience, you have to have a platform. So I started the blog because I wanted to write a book. And I started writing my first book in, oh my gosh, like 2008, I think it might have been. And I thought, like, I had this whole dream in my head that it was just going to go so smoothly, and I was going to have like my Carrie Bradshaw moment, and I'd like pop a bottle of champagne at this big publisher and sign this huge book deal, and everything would be great. So I kind of, Google became my best friend, and I figured out that I needed a literary agent in order to get a book deal, because you need somebody to represent you who has relationships with all the publishers. So I started querying agents, and I didn't even know what that meant. I didn't know anyone in the industry, but I literally Googled like how to write a query letter, and I like basically like copied the format and wrote my own stuff and sent in all my submissions and sent it to a bunch of people, got a ton of rejections, but then I got a couple of people that were interested. So I was like, okay, maybe I have something here. And this one agent, Victoria Sanders was her name, she was probably like the most popular one at the time out of all the people that offered me representation. So I decided to go with her, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna sign with you. And she took me on as a client, and you don't pay to have an agent. They basically rep you, and then if the book gets sold, they take 30%. So she took me on as her client, and we reworked the entire proposal, which is what they call it in publishing when it's a nonfiction book. And we worked on this thing for probably like 6 months. And I was obsessed with it. Like from start to finish, I thought that like this was going to be the best book ever. It was initially, it's kind of like what Sparkle is now, for those of you that know that's my first book, but we were calling it the Champagne Diaries at the time. And the time came to submit the book to publishers, and I was like, oh, and she thought it was going to get sold too. Obviously, she took me on as a client. So she's like, we're probably going to have like, so I can't even say it out loud because it sounds so fucking ridiculous when you find out what happened. But she's like, we may have a bidding war, which is like when multiple publishers want you and like fight for you. Well, we didn't have a bidding war because we got rejected by 1, 2, 3, 4, 19 publishers in total said no, rejected me. All basically not because of my writing per se, but like more for the fact that I just wasn't a celebrity. I wasn't well known enough. I didn't have a big enough following. And at the time I probably had like 3,000 Twitter followers, and I thought I was like hot shit. I was like, I've got 3,000 followers. And like, I wrote it in my proposal, and it's so funny when I look back on it now. But for me, that was a big deal at the time. So anyway, we got all these different rejections, and I was kind of keeping one eye on the self-publishing world at that time. This was like 2010 maybe at this point. 2009, 2010, and I was starting to see what was happening there, because previously self-publishing was like a big no-no. Like you just didn't do it. There weren't opportunities. Amazon didn't have their platform to do it, and it was like, it just was kind of like looked down upon. It was like you weren't good enough to have a book, so you self-published. But that was quickly changing, and I don't know if you guys know Seth Godin. He's now on my publisher. We have the same publisher, which is so crazy because I actually get chills when I say that out loud, because he wrote an article called Choose Yourself. It was a blog, Pick Yourself. And I think it was 2010. And I read that article, and it was like, the world is changing. We're no longer getting picked by publishers or record labels or corporations. We have to pick ourselves. This is like the age of the entrepreneur. And this was before Girl Boss existed. This is before like most direct sales companies existed. Like this was way back. So I read that article, and I was like, choose yourself. Like, I'm going to fucking choose myself. Like, this is time. You don't want me. I'm picking me. So I went out there, and Amazon had just launched Create Space, like maybe a year or two before that. And I self-published my first book, and I found a web designer. She was actually a fan of the blog, and she agreed to do a logo for me. And then I convinced her to do a book cover, and she had never done one before. I got my husband to lay out the interior because he had some experience with design. I found an editor online. I paid her like, I think $300 to edit the whole book. And I put Sparkle out there. And that weekend, the book went to like #1 in like multiple categories on Amazon, all because I couldn't shut up about the fact that I had published a book. And I was so excited. So I told like everyone about it. And bestseller categories on Amazon, just so you guys know, what that really means is that you're currently in that hour, it gets refreshed each hour, you're outselling the books in your category. So if you are selling a ton of books and you have like a big buzz, you're going to be a bestseller in that category. Of course, it depends on what's kind of happening around you. If like, you know, if like War and Peace is in your category, that book is like constantly selling, or if like Stephen King is in your category, you have less of a chance. But for me, it worked somehow. And my book was like #1 for the whole weekend. So that gave me a lot of confidence and a lot of momentum to keep pushing forward. And that at that point, then I wrote my next book, and I was like, you know, the dream of having a book deal was kind of like in the back burner, but I was like, I'm doing okay. Like I'm just going to keep plugging along. So I self-published 3 more books at that point. And then I did Girl Code. And Girl Code I wrote in 2015. It was my first year out of the gate. I had left MTV, was doing my life coaching thing, making a little bit of money off my books. And I think at that point I was probably making like $500 or $600 a month on my books, like not a lot of money at all. And I did Girl Code, and for some reason that book just like took off, and it kind of put me on the map. And I don't know if it was timing and it was where I was in my career and people were starting to know who I was, or if it was just the content of the book or whatever, but that book just like exploded. And that was the book that really allowed me to finally say that I was a full-time author. And I started making a couple $1,000s a month. And then before I knew it, it was like really getting up there. And I was like, this is crazy. And I started doing like more TV and kind of getting more PR just naturally. And it was the fall of last year, so it was a year ago. It was 2 days before Thanksgiving. I'll never forget it. I was sitting in my apartment, like this apartment, like at this desk, literally this desk. And I was on email like I always am. And I was just sitting there probably having a glass of wine, and an email popped up. And it was an email from an editor at Penguin Random House Books. And she was like, hey, you know, I came across your book Girl Code and I really loved it. And I ordered it. And she like gave me all these, you know, praises about it. And she's like, you know, I work for the publisher that just did Girl Boss and, you know, Seth Godin's books and Simon Sinek. I would love to meet with you and see if you're ever opening, if you'd ever be open to having a traditional publishing deal. And I like literally, like my mom was next door. I like opened the door and just started bawling. I was like, oh my God, because that was like my dream for so long. And even though I had kind of let it go, I was still like, obviously, like I get teary-eyed like thinking about it now, like that's still what I really wanted in my heart of hearts. So long story short, I met with them, and then in the early this year, I think it was like January, second week of January, I signed a double book deal with them, multi-6-figure double book deal. They bought the rights to Girl Code. They put it out all over the world. It's in every bookstore. They bought the rights to my next book, which I'm working on now, and that's basically the story. It's so surreal and it's so crazy, but it's like almost 10 years in the making. So when they say like every like overnight success story is 10 years in the making, like it really is. I believe that. I've had that experience, and it's just been like totally surreal. So, and it's been a testament to me that if you keep going and you really focus on that thing that you love. For me, I have the podcast, I have my community, but like books, like writing has been my passion. And I've worked at it, and I've gotten better at it, and I've failed, and I've won, and I've failed, and I've won again, but it's always really been the focus. So it's kind of taught me that if you just keep the course and keep getting better and better at what you love to do, there's just no way that you can fail. You will ultimately find success in whatever format that looks like.
Sorry, I'm trying to put myself on mute, so when I come back in, I have to like find the button all over again. So you're looking at 10 years in the making. And as your group coaching, as your private mentorships, even your Slay Baby Collective, which if you guys are not a part of Cara's private Facebook community, she has the Slay Baby Collective, which is a free empowerment group. Like seriously, come join. And she also has Slay Baby Bosses for those. I mean, we're all coaches, so you're all boss babes, so you can join that one too. Back to my point. Okay, let's talk about people that are in a business and are female entrepreneurs. And their first question for you is, well, this is taking so long. I can't do this anymore? Like, what would be that one thing that you would tell her in that moment to get her to, without even having to say like, hey, I did this for 10 years. What's that one little piece of motivation that you would advise her?
Why are you doing it? Like, really, that's the thing. Why are you doing it? Because I would do this I have done this when I didn't make $1 off of it. I wake up and I have a fire in me and I'm so excited about what I do. And I love what I do, that no matter what I'm making that month, like, I would still do it. So I would ask her, like, why are you doing what you do? Are you doing it just to make money? Are you doing it for fame? Are you doing it for celebrity? And like, really answer that question, because a lot of people, their intentions are not what they think they are. Like, maybe they started out for one reason, but then they completely shifted gears. And I would invite you to really ask yourself that question. And if you're not in it for the right reasons, and the right reasons are living and breathing and eating and sleeping it, then don't be scared to move on from it. You know, like, it's okay to change gears. It's okay to say something is not working anymore. But I think when you really love what you do, that's what gives you the ability to go in it for the long haul, because you just have no other option, you know?
So now, like you mentioned earlier, how you said that right now you don't have like this big thing because you have your book coming. And so how do you think that you are going to look forward? Is it just by loving what you do and just sharing, or do you think that you're going to have to kind of like dig deeper and find that big thing that's going to drive you?
Yeah, I have a lot of digging to do, and I've been feeling like that. And I actually have been like really kind of like exploring like what well, I'll tell you one thing I've done. One thing that I did, and I made a promise to myself, because this is something I really believe in. I really, truly believe in just putting blinders on and doing you and doing the things that you love to do. And I think when we get a little bored or we have a little time on our hands, we can tend to look around at what other people are doing. And to me, that's the biggest way to suck the life out of yourself. So for me, I think I'm going to commit to just really spending a lot of time alone and like experiencing life and doing things. And that's how I get my biggest kind of aha moments. Like, it's even something as simple as like SoulCycle. Like, I was just on the bike and I was like starting to kind of think of stuff, or like traveling or going out and taking myself out for a glass of champagne. You know, I love to go to the plaza or like fancy hotel, or like just spending some time digging in and figuring out what that looks like, because I do love writing books and I see myself writing books for the rest of my life probably at this point, but I want to do new things. I want to think outside the box, and I want to keep a fresh perspective all the time. And the only way that I can do that is if I have those blinders on and I focus on thinking about what I would want to see in the world. Like, there's a quote, and I always say this quote, I don't know who created it, but it's create things that you wish existed. So many times girls come to me and they're like, I wish there was this. And I'm like, make it. Start it. You know, so I have to take my own advice. And I've actually had a couple of ideas today that I was thinking of really fun stuff to do with Slay Baby, like, you know, Slay Baby slumber party, and like we do like a pajama party, like party line. Remember party line, like in this, like the 90s? Like, I want to do a party line. I'm like, how fun would that be? Just like a phone call with a theme. I used to do these cocktail power hours, but like just like a free call of like, get on, wear your pajamas, like get a glass of wine, whatever. But like party line where we could all just like talk and hang out. And I want to just continue to think of these things that, you know, I sometimes pop in my mind, but then I get busy with like the kind of day-to-day bullshit. So yeah, I mean, I think it's going to come. I think it's a little bit of it. It's kind of like art and science. It's like listening to your gut, listening to your intuition and flowing, but at the same time, putting your head down and doing the work and doing a lot of writing about what feels good to me, what doesn't feel good to me, where I see myself going, and what I really want out of my career and out of my life.
So one more thing here. One of the things that stops people from doing a lot of things, whether it's their business, especially like if you were to put yourself in our shoes as far as Beachbody coaches and being in the fitness world, rejection, objections, and fear become like these massive clouds that just drop on top of people, and they're paralyzed and can't do anything and don't want to take any steps forward. How do you suggest they move out of that fear of being rejected and
So it's funny you say that, because the new book, Like She Owns the Place, is all about confidence, but it's developing sustainable confidence. That's the term that I'm kind of using in this book, because I think a lot of us kind of get confidence through like these sugar rushes of like putting on a cute outfit or losing weight or, you know, meeting a guy, and like that's all fine, and that stuff can make us feel good. But I think we develop true confidence, which leads to being able to handle rejection and all those no's and all those objections, and kind of live in a way where you're so like excited about who you are and what you're doing and what you're contributing to this world that none of that shit matters. But the way that you do that is by failing and by fucking up and by being vulnerable. So it's like allowing yourself to kind of get into it and just get your hands dirty and go through those experiences. To me, I welcome those challenges because that's what gives me the ability to build my confidence. Like I was actually it's funny, I was saying to Ryan I jumped in the shower and like quickly washed my face, and I'm like on this call, and like the old me, like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I would have never in a million years been like, okay, I'm going to sit in like my sweatpants with like, you know, after a workout, like not looking perfect, not with a blowout. Like I was so insecure, so deeply insecure because I was so worried about what people were going to think of me. But it's because I wasn't doing the real work in my life and doing work that mattered and building my confidence that way. I was putting it on all these outside sources. So I think to answer that question, it's kind of a long answer, but I think it's really just about doing the work and proving to yourself and having those experiences and showing up as like the person you truly want to be in the world. Like I did a little Instagram story the other day because I had one of those days where I was like, today's fucking awesome. And it's because I created it. It's like, I want to show up as the girl who does not care what anyone else is saying around her, that is so focused on her work and so obsessed with who she is and what she's doing that she doesn't even have time to worry about who's talking about her. Like, I don't even know who talks about me because I'm not connected to that world of gossip. Like, I've separated myself from all those people who, you know, would, quote, reject me or anything like that. So it's just about really just being so focused on your craft. And I know for you guys, it's, you know, it's so much of it is helping other people, but so much of it is also working on yourself. So doing all the personal development, doing the workouts, eating well, treating your body right so that you can be that example. So it's that kind of makes sense. I think it's just like being so into what you do that you just don't care. Like, it just doesn't matter. You move on. Like, for me, like, I dealt with so much rejection early on in my career that I was like, one more, okay, you know, bring it on. Like, now the word no turns me on. I'm like, okay, you said no, I'm going to prove something to you. Watch me get 10 more people that want to be in my world and not really care. Just to me, it's like, if you don't want to be a part of this, you're not meant to be a part of this. So if somebody's saying no to you or somebody has an objection, you know, respectfully, like, you know, accept their decision or whatever, and then just kind of move on and know that the right people are going to be attracted to you as long as you're being yourself and your true self.
100%. Can I just ask a quick question?
Yeah.
So like, you have your blinders on and, you know, you said you're like, you know, you're so into like what you're doing and the focus and all of that, which I love. I think that's so important. But how do you stay inspired, you know, while you have those blinders on?
I think you have to pull inspiration from your own life, from your own experiences and the people you're helping, as opposed to other people in your industry. So one thing that I did early on, like, just like everybody, when I first got into the life coaching world, I followed all the coaches, I subscribed to all the newsletters, I was getting all these webinars and these courses, and I was getting so overwhelmed because I was like, oh my God, number one, everyone looks the same. Everyone's doing the same thing. Every website looks the same. Everybody's Facebook post looks the same. And I was so like disillusioned by that. And then I also started to feel like, oh my God, everyone out there is doing what I do. Like, how am I going to be any different? Like, what's so great about me? So I unsubscribed from everyone in that world. And I know it's different with you guys because you are a team, so you want to stay close to the people around you. But I think you have to really check yourself when you're kind of going down that world, because there's a fine line between inspiration and imitation. And if you're not careful and you're getting, quote, inspired, you can start to pick up other people's behaviors and vocabulary and the way they do things and the way they post and what they share. And then it kind of clouds what's so amazing about you. So get inspired by your own life, by your own experiences. Like I was saying earlier, I live my life in a way where I'm like, okay, what can I learn from this? So perfect example, this morning, I posted this on Instagram. I got up in the morning and I was feeling good. I was like super well rested. I sat down and I picked up my coffee mug. Brittany, it's a Slay the Day mug that we both have, which broke in the dishwasher, and Ryan crazy glued it for me. And I picked up my mug with a full cup of coffee. I was reading my affirmations. I was trying to do what I was supposed to do. And the whole fucking mug, the fucking thing snapped right off. And the whole mug of coffee spilled all over me, burned my bare legs. And I got up like I was in a fit of rage, like a psychopath. Like Ryan came in and I was like, ah, like screaming. Like, I don't know. It was like a demon took over me. So I had this like moment. And I was like, who is this girl? Like, what are you doing right now? And I got in the shower and I immediately was like, okay, what is happening here? Because this is not about the coffee spilling on you. Like on a normal day, that would never like happen. And I worked through it. I was like, okay, it's anxiety around XYZ. I've been thinking about this. I'm fearful about that. But that experience gave me a story to tell. So I quickly forgave myself. I apologized to poor Ryan, and then I moved on with my day, but it created content. So think about everything that you're going through in your life and what you're learning from it, right? Because even though you guys are doing fitness, it's still so much about the mind. It's so much about the mindset and learning how to shift your thinking and change your mindset and look at things in a positive light. You can probably create like 25 stories just from what happened today. You know, so always kind of think about what can inspire you that you're going through, because that's what's really going to be the most authentic thing. It's not really so much about somebody else's story. Yes, of course, your clients and your coaches and people around you, you want to, you know, tell their stories and talk about their successes, but you have a world of content inside of you. Like everything I've talked to you guys about tonight is things that have happened to me. It's the book deal, getting, you know, losing the book deal, getting a book deal, coffee spilling all over my legs, whatever it is. You have so much more content than you think you do. And people care about it. People want to know. I know we can sort of think like, is this even worth sharing? But I think people are naturally so voyeuristic. They just want to know what's going on in everyone's life. Like I love just like I watch reality TV. Like, why do I need to know what like Kyle from Beverly Hills Housewives is like putting in her coffee? But I want to know. So like if we're so obsessed with what's happening around us, like people care. So have confidence. Have the confidence enough to know that your story is valuable and it's worth sharing with people.
Yes. Does anybody else have any questions?
I am just hanging on every word you're saying, girl. I'm taking notes. It's been one.
Just phenomenal.
Thank
I'm gonna
you.
look at the chat. I know you have limited time, but just in case anybody had any questions.
Yeah, of course.
Anything in the chat?
What do you have? I think like Brittany dropped like a little teaser bomb, but I think like we're all dying to know, what do you have coming out right now? What content can we absorb? What do we have to look forward to? Like all that jazz.
So right now, the best way to kind of stay connected with me is through like the podcast. So I'm on my podcast. I'm trying to release a show at least once a week, sometimes twice a week on a good week. It's called Style Your Mind, and it is on iTunes and Stitcher if you have an Android. So you could just Google it too. It'll give you the link. So the podcast is a great way to stay connected. I have a workbook called Style Your Mind as well, which I love. So if anybody read Girl Code and they kind of want to go a little bit deeper, that's a great way to kind of stay connected. And then, I don't know, I was going to do a group coaching program because I love that. Brittany has done my programs before. I love doing those programs. And I really want to do one called Style Your Mind for Success for female entrepreneurs, but I don't know what that's going to look like yet. So if you stay connected to me either through Slay Baby or through my website, I have an email list and I send emails out. Definitely stay tuned because I really, really want to do something on that. I think that, you know, for entrepreneurs especially, we have to fine-tune our brains like every single day. It's a constant battle. It is a constant practice. It's like a religion. You know, you have to think positively. And I really just want to create a space for women to come together like this on a call or a Zoom chat or whatever, where we can talk about this stuff and talk about our goals and hold ourselves accountable, because it's one thing to come on a thing like this and get inspired and feel really good in the moment, but then like what happens next week and the week after and the week after. So that accountability is so, so important. So stay tuned. That may be coming up soon. I don't have it all worked out yet, but for sure, Slay Baby and the podcast, I think, are like the best ways to stay in touch.
I didn't see any questions coming through on the chat. So unless you ladies have anything last minute. Okay.
I'm not going to take up any more time. I asked my question.
No, I don't mind at all. I'm totally, if you guys have anything, let me know. Or if it comes up later and you want to email me, my email's on my website, like you guys Facebook me or whatever.
Yeah, if you guys are not in the Slay Baby Collective, you should already have gone over to Facebook, searched and requested access, because it is seriously like the most positive, uplifting group that I have honestly ever been in. And it's just amazing because there's no drama bullshit ever, and it's freaking phenomenal.
Thank you. Yeah, that group is like really close to my heart. I have the business group that's Slay Baby Bosses, but I really wanted to create a space where we don't talk about work. I could talk about work, but like it wasn't like, I didn't want it to be a spammy kind of promotional place where it's literally just people copying, pasting the same thing, like check out my program, check out my coaching, whatever. It's truly like a place to breed real female friendships. And I do meetups. I've done meetups in Brooklyn, in Manhattan, in Chicago, in London. I have more planned. And it's just, there's no political talk. I'm very strict about that. There's no drama, no bullshit, no mean girl stuff. It's like just a really fun place to hang out and make friends. I feel like I actually have a podcast coming out on friendship. I feel like as we get older, we start to become so much more ourselves, and our older friendships kind of slip away and change and shift shape a little bit. So it's just, I wanted to create a space for women to become friends. And I love, like, I've seen so many girls in the group, like, become really close, like, who live in the same area. We have a location file, and they're like, hey, who's in Pennsylvania tonight, wants to get dinner? And, like, they actually go and meet each other. And that, like, makes me so happy. So come on in and join us. I would love to have you guys.
I have one last little request before we say, oh, Heather Lee, were you going to say something?
I was just going to ask one quick question. So like, we have, obviously, like, you know, kind of a broad of people watching this. So some people, you know, obviously, you know, Brittany, you know, in the Millionaires Club, we have 6-figure earners, and then we have some that are like part-time corporate, and some are still full-time corporate and that are in their like side hustle. What would you say as far as like how to juggle your energy, you know, how to like, you know, manage both and, you know, ramp up one, and, you know, how did you do that in the beginning when you were doing a lot of like MTV still?
So to be honest with you, I was obsessive about my side hustle. Like I loved it so much that it didn't feel like work. Like everyone knew that that was my focus, and I knew it was my focus. So I just made it a priority, and I gave a lot of stuff up. Like I didn't take vacations for a long time. I took all my sick days and I used them to work on my business. Like I would rush home from work and go to coaching school at night. So there's a lot of sacrifice involved. And I think you kind of have to be okay with that if you want it to really kind of come to fruition, at least within a couple of years. I think another thing is to also be really mindful of your self-care and know when you need to slow down and take a break. I am such a hustler in one sense, but then I'm also like so into just like really being like conscious of your energy and taking care of yourself, getting your workouts in. I take like a bubble bath at least like 2 or 3 times a week. Taking a night off and just going out with your friends and having drinks and like being social, like it can be really tough. And I think sleep is another big one for me. Like we're in this culture of like team no sleep, and I think that's bullshit, because if you don't sleep, it's like worse than a hangover. Like if you don't have sleep, like it just, you can't function, you're not creative, you're not centered, you're not in a good headspace. So just really take care of yourself and, you know, like realize that it's going to come and it's going to happen. I think it's like a little dance between like patience and hustle, if that makes sense. So you kind of know your own life. Like I don't have children, so for me it was a little bit different because I didn't have that responsibility. But I was newly married when I started my business, and I really wanted to be a good wife and be a good employee. And I got promoted a bunch of times through MTV. I don't know how, because I was like so not into it. But I worked really hard in my day job. And I think that's another thing to keep in mind. Like don't resent your day job if you're a side hustler, because for me, like I had to really reframe that so I didn't hate going in every day. And I did dread it many days, and there were many mornings that I cursed it. But I called MTV my angel investor, because the money I was making at MTV was funding everything else. Like that paycheck coming in every 2 weeks was allowing me to hire a web designer and a photographer to take pictures of me and do everything I needed to do to build the business. So honor the space you're in. Like write that down. That's one of my most favorite mantras. Honor the space you're in. And I think that allows you to not compare yourself to where other people are at in their journey, and just realize that like you're doing the best you can do. So get obsessed with it, honor the space you're in, and just do your personal best.
It's like a mic drop.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, mic drop, like
Done.
oh, girl, so good.
Well, Cara, thank you so much. Like honestly, you missed all of my praises to you, but you know them all. So, but honestly, like thank you so much, and I hope that all the girls on here got everything and more that they could possibly have gotten from what you had to share tonight. And if I can just make one small request,
Yes.
Still waiting for a retreat. So Slay Baby Slumber Party sounds phenomenal.
I know. We have to do that. That has to happen.
Out there.
But can we go somewhere good, like Paris or something? Like I don't want to be in the U.S. right now. Let's go somewhere like really amazing.
I'm in.
It's got to be exotic. Exotic AF.
Well, thank you, hon, so much. To all of our peeps, please make sure. I mean, yes, this was the main event, but we do still have more for you. So please stay with us.
Thank you so much for having me. This is awesome. I appreciate it.
Thank you. So good.
Aw. Thank you, guys. Have a great rest of your call. I'll connect with you guys soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
Oh, you guys, I really hope that you didn't bail on us, because you know that we can't like mic drop like that. And I mean, we told Cara like 15, 20 minutes, and she basically just like laid all of her shit out and just went
She
for
was
it.
like 40 minutes. Like, that's insane.
Amazing.
See, that was
a
the
babe.
vibes. She was feeling it.
Mhm.
What an honor. What an honor.
That was cool. How much time that she gave us. I mean, she charges like thousands of dollars, like, to do something like that, and she just gave from her heart. Like, that's incredible.
Wow.
I love, oh my gosh, I'm reading the chat. So good, Brittany. So, text request my son to deliver a beer. That's so funny.
Oh, I love it so much.
This missing shirtless comes sneaking in, trying not to let anybody see it.
Amazing. Oh my
The
god.
bottle of wine was already gone, and we haven't even gotten anywhere yet. So
I had to refill my glass. Ugh.
So if anybody
We need an intermission, like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
We need to 2 minutes.
intermission, get your water, get your refill of wine. But I mean, like, it's still so much goodness. It's incredible.
Yes, so
good
much
stuff.
If you're still on, maybe comment like one of like your like aha moments, or that one of the things that really just like stuck out to you that you were just like, wow, I like so needed to hear that tonight. Like this is why I was on that call, because we got more of them coming, but I just want to know like from each speaker, like what is that aha moment? So if you could just, while we're taking intermission to refill glasses and spirits and morale, go ahead and just comment on the other side and let us know like what your aha moment was, no matter how big or small. We want to hear it. This is a party, right?
I have enough of the liquids, so we're good.
I'm going to be right back.
Okay. That's perfect. You guys, that was so incredible. I loved hearing her balance between the hustle and the self-care, number one. I just think that was huge, like listening to what you have in here and then what like actually needs to be done. The dance between the patients and the hustle, and then like honor the space that you're in. I love that. I think that's just, I think I'm going to recite that to myself every day.
I'm going to add that to my affirmations. I really love, and she talks about this in her book too, how important it is, like you said, like the hustle, but then how important it is to go get a glass of wine, like get out of the house, sleep. These things. And I even found myself laying awake last night, and all I was doing was work. And it's because we love what we do, and it's hard to break away. And then all of a sudden I look and it's like 1 a.m. and it's like, you know, it's that self-care is so important. And oh my gosh, she
It's like game changer.
yeah, I know. Mine is in my office somewhere. I need to like have the nice signed copy from Summit, and it's right in front of me.
I just have the old copy.
She did mention this, and this, I don't know if, I think it's backwards, hey. This is Cara's workbook, and this is actually my blank one, because I just bought myself a new one. It's called Style Your Mind, and you can get this one on Amazon too. This basically is like having her private mentorship or group coaching in a book. And yes, you're kind of doing it on your own, but I mean, if you think about it and you get yourself your book, it's a
order mine right now.
How does it walk you through, Brittany? Can you like show some of the pages? Like,
yeah, that's what I'm trying to look for. Hang on, it's a 30-day workbook. So like you start out right in the, I don't know if you can see here. You start out right in the beginning talking, hang on.
Come on. You can do better Vanna White right now.
I know. In the beginning, there's a bunch of stuff. I did kind of start this one already, but you begin right away by creating your vision, which when I was doing group coaching with Cara, she sent you a workbook, and that was the first thing you got. Defining what success means to you. And then a bunch of different questions that you're asking yourself, and that's right away in the beginning. Writing a personal mantra about your success. And then each day after that just has various questions.
Ooh. So it's like a day-to-day thing. Is it like day 1, day 2, whatever?
So there's a lot of stuff in the beginning. So here we're still at like designing your goals and what you want in life. And then we get further in. Then we get into style your life. So like you get through the beginning, the first half of the book is all choosing those things to really break down and decide, get real visual and real focused on what you want. And then after that, you basically have, so I'll show you, it's all backwards though. So like this says, Day 6, some things to think about. What was your major focus today? What is something you need to resolve? What's keeping you from resolving it? So the second half is all more like a journaling aspect, but she has various questions on each of those days to give you ideas of things. But this workbook is seriously, like, from experience, being as if you were in one of her group coaching or private mentorships.
Okay.
That's cool.
Amazon Prime.
I'm ordering it.
Are we all back?
We are.
Everyone all back? Are we ready to keep rolling?
Okay. Am I up next or is Suze? I am,
You
right?
are next, and then Suzanne.
Okay.
And yeah.
All right. I'm ready to go then. Okay. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is, hang on. I just want to make sure, like, I hate feeling like I was told something. Okay. Like, it told me I had a message, and I'm always like, just so you know, nobody can hear you. No, I'm not here. Okay. My name is Brittany, and I am a mom of 2. My kids are 10 and 8. I'm married to my high school sweetheart. We have been together for 15 years and married for 9. And I live in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And yes, that's the same place that Mindy Wender lives. And yes, it's like 5 minutes away. So that question is always usually the next one that comes up. So I'm just going to lay it out there right now. I got involved with Beachbody. My daughter's 8, so like 8.5 years ago. Basically, I had her, and she was about 2 months old, and I needed to lose weight. I saw Mindy posting all this stuff because Mindy had probably just started coaching maybe a couple months prior to that, and she was talking about Turbo Jam and all this stuff. So then I went and did the dreaded thing, and I purchased Turbo Jam on eBay. Yes, I'm one of those people. But aside from not using Mindy Wender's direct sales link, she stuck with me. She was like, had a text group, me, her, and Jackie. We were always connected and focused. And in about 9 months, I lost like 48 pounds or something like that with Turbo Jam. And starting at like that 6-month mark, Mindy started asking me if I wanted to coach. I was like, no, not going to happen. Not ever going to happen. Like, that's just the most ridiculous thing I've heard. So then it was like, okay, whatever. Well, at the time, I was working full-time as a legal assistant for my family's law firm. My husband was working full-time, and we started to get to the point where with the second child, we had gone from living paycheck to paycheck to like barely hanging on. I mean, we just couldn't anymore. So then I started to entertain the ideas of watching platinum presenters. What is coaching webinars? And they were every like Tuesday night or Monday night or something. And every week it was a new person that hosted, same content, same slideshow, same everything, but a new person on platinum presenters. And then after every one, I would be asked, so are you going to sign up? No, sorry. Like, okay, well, maybe we could see how this works out, but I don't know. I mean, she's already super successful. We live in the same town. Nothing's ever going to happen. This is ridiculous. Then we hit, my daughter was probably I think she was about a year old. And, well, yeah, because it was May that I signed up as a coach. So all of a sudden we realized that we were now like way below. And I started getting notices that we were like 4 months behind on our mortgage. And it was time to get real fucking serious about this, or we were going to have to be foreclosed on or sell our home. In my heart, I was like, you know what? This is the only home that my kids have known. I can't lose this house. Like it was nothing special, but it was all they had, and it was all that we had. And I knew that I could not lose it. So guess what I did? I watched one of those Platinum Presenters website or webinars again. Same thing, different time. I think this time actually Christine Dwyer was actually the host. And afterwards I was like, you know, it got to the point where Mindy was legit like, I'm not fucking asking her anymore. I know she's not going to sign up. So let her just keep watching. I'm like, whatever, it's going to be great. So I mean, this is like real life. So I looked at my husband. I remember I was sitting on the couch and I looked at him and I said, hey, I need your credit card. And he was like, what do you need my credit card for? And I was like, well, I need to pay the credit card bill, which right there should have been a big red flag. Like he should have looked at me and said, you are crazy because we don't have any money to pay it. I mean, the creditors were calling every freaking day to begin with. We didn't have any money to pay the creditors. So why would I honestly have money to pay this credit card? He should have known, but he didn't. And so I took the credit card and I signed up for $40, $39.95. There were no challenge packs, this grandma status. There were no challenge packs back then. I definitely could not afford Shakeology. I knew at that point, like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I really want to have Shakeology. It's not like a necessity, I don't think, but I want it because everybody else is doing it. So I have 1 month and I need to get that $100. And then I felt like a lot of guilt because I'm like, okay, well, but we need to pay all this other stuff. Fast forward 30 days, I remember sending my husband a text message that said, by the way, I signed up as a Beachbody coach and I made $250 this month. So, I'm going to pay off some bills. And that was it. And it was like, okay, whatever. Cool. But at that time, like when we were in that, I had hit rock bottom. Like I knew that we had to do something. We were on WIC because I was supplementing, because I was working, and I couldn't afford formula to save my life. And it was, like Cara mentioned, it was having these big things that were so important to me. I needed to pay off this debt. Number one, I needed to save our house. I needed to get off WIC. I needed to get off of assistance. I needed to save our house. I needed to get out of this debt. And there were just all these things that were really driving me and pushing me. And so I committed to all of our team calls. Mindy hosted a weekly accountability call. I made sure I was on that every single week. Susan, well, I wonder if we were on that together. I can't remember if you were on there with me. I remember Amanda Arnwine and oh my God, Angie was on there. That's all I remember for sure. But Suze, you may have been too. See, I'm like terrible memory. But I committed to everything and I really focused and I dug deep because I had so much to work for. And I wanted to change our family. And so I was putting a lot of extra time in, and then it was putting a lot of strain on our marriage as well. And so then I got to the point where I need to change my family, but I also need to make sure that if he leaves, I'm going to be okay. And I wanted to make sure that I mentioned that because it seems like such a sobering and depressing thing to say. But there are a lot of coaches I know that go through this where their husbands aren't supportive. And trust me, and mine is like, he's definitely supportive now. Like he's all over it. But I mean, he's not in the business, but he supports me and he loves me and he appreciates me and knows that why I do this. But for the first 3-4 years, there was nothing. There was nothing but like hatred for my business. And I want people to know where you have a spell. I knew in that moment, like shit could get real bad. And I needed to make sure that I could afford to be a single mom if I had to be. So I just kept going. And I'm not going to get into like the details of everything. Oh, we're still married, by the way, just so you know. Like we're really good. I'm not going to get into like everything that has transpired from 2010 to 2017, but kind of like a little breakdown just to give you an idea. I paid off like $25,000 in debt. We sold our home, but that's because we bought a new one and we bought our dream home 2 years ago. I didn't lose it to foreclosure, thankfully. What else have we done? I quit my job like 3 or 4 years into the business. He still works, but that's because we love each other. If we were like home all day, whatever. But all these things, that was just my focus of like, these are the things I want in life and this is what we're going to do. And I need to work my ass off to make it happen. And I was so focused. And it's because I had those things driving me and I was pushing for something and it was all that mattered in that time. It gave me purpose and it gave me a sense of urgency, like Cara mentioned. And I think it's so funny that she did mention that because I'm going to get real fucking honest with you. 2 years ago, we bought this house. We've been here. It was June 2 years ago. And these last 2 years have been extremely hard for me in my business. And I've come to the realization that's because I've I don't have that anymore. I don't have, like Cara mentioned, I don't have that next big thing that's like making me super involved and like wanting to show up every day. And I lost that. And in that time, I've just got comfortable and things inside me have shifted. And I've spent the last 2 years feeling super burnt out and just kind of lost. And I can't sit here and tell you like right now that I know exactly what that next thing is, because to be honest, I have no idea. Like we're comfortable. And that has kind of been a hard thing for me the last 2 years. But as entrepreneurs, we're always evolving, and we need to keep fighting and keep going for something. And that's when over the last couple of months is when I realized that I needed to start really embracing and understanding that we all go through seasons. And the other day, it's funny. I'm going to take a side note for a second, because this was like totally ironic to me the other day. I was laying in bed and I couldn't sleep, and it was like last week one night. And I was like, God, I really feel, somebody posted on Facebook about wanting, oh my God, I can't think what they're called. Capsule closet, where you have like 3 shirts and that go with everything, whatever. And it's like, oh yeah, you know what? I should really clean out my closet. And my office is a terrible mess. So tomorrow I'm going to start cleaning out my office, and I need to get rid of a bunch of clothes. I mean, it was all these things like I needed, and then I've got this great idea for some content, and all of a sudden, like all this stuff just started cleaning out. And it was like, I needed to clear out this clutter out of my life, and I needed to clear this, and I needed to make room for this content to come in. And I was like, God, this will be a really great post tomorrow. I'm going to post about this tomorrow. So I reached over and I grabbed my phone and I put a little note in my phone, because clearly, when we get a bright idea in bed, as coaches, as business owners, we grab our phones, make a note so you don't forget. And I woke up the next morning and I looked at it and I was like, son of a bitch, I feel like I have a blog post about this, like about refreshing and rebooting. And like, I'm just going to like search on my blog for cleaning out your closet. And sure enough, I came to a blog post that I did last year, and it was the exact day a year ago. And the blog post was called Refresh and Reboot in September. And it was August 31st that I posted it. And it was the morning of August 31st when this happened. And all of a sudden I went, holy shit, like seasons are real and everybody has their own time. Now, I'm not saying that you have to be a person that changes and evolves by the weather season. It's not spring, summer, fall. For me, apparently it is. Apparently September is like the winning ticket around here. But I hit that day and I was like, God, this is crazy to me. It could be that you have been hustling for January to June and you took a couple months off in the summer and now you need to refocus. Or maybe you took like the whole last 6 months off. Whatever it is, you have to embrace that time and know that there are going to be times when you need to be doing X and there are going to be times when you need to be doing Y. And unfortunately, I think sometimes they don't go together. But this is one of those things that when we started kind of talking about, what we wanted to share on these calls, that like to have this happen this past week was just beyond me. Like I honestly, I'm not making this up. This was just completely crazy to me. And it made me realize that like, it's okay. It's okay to go through a time where you feel that you need to like take a step back, take a breather, really evaluate like, okay, where do I want to go? What do I want to create? How can I put out my passion? How can I share? How can I serve others? And then there's another season where you're in fucking hustle mode and you are doing all those things that you took time to create over here. Then there's a time that you are in action mode. And I think it's funny because I think as entrepreneurs, we don't really understand in that space that 9 times out of 10, the two don't go together. And I hope that you kind of like sit back now that I've said that and realize it when you're in that moment to say like, oh my God, yeah, when I'm super creative, I'm not in action mode. I'm just in mode. And when I'm in action mode, I am all over my goals. I am doing X, Y, Z. I'm really in it. So the first thing that you need to kind of do is just, be aware. Be aware of what is your season. Where are you at right now? And this is basically just taking 15 minutes and saying, okay, kind of evaluating, like, what have I done in the last 6 months? How do I feel about that? Where am I now? Where am I going? And then that can kind of tell you, like, this is where I'm at. Maybe you're in a super personal development time when you need to, like, focus on you to get your shit together before you can help somebody else. And that is totally fine. I promise you, I have been there, and I think I've let myself be there for way too long lately, but I've been there and I get it. And then if you're in that creation mode, awesome. Brainstorm every possible thing that you want to create, that you want to put out there, that you want, like Cara was saying, you know, when I say content, like creating content, I mean, yes, I'm saying like for your challenge groups and coaches and things like that, but I'm also meaning your story and how you can tell it and how you can share it with the world. That is your content. That is what you have to provide to people. And that could be through a freebie group or just the things you post on social media. It's a hell of a lot easier to know what you want to post on social media if you've already thought it up and you can nail that story and you can be a storyteller. There's a lot of more value that you can bring to somebody when you're doing that. Or maybe you're in like serious hustle mode. Maybe there is a goal that you're trying to hit by the end of this quarter, which is the end of this month. Cool too. But be aware of what season you are in personally. Take mental brainstorms of it, write it all down, get all that shit out of your head, and then you can evaluate when and where your next season comes into play. And then actually down action. Manifesting and brainstorming and giving yourself all that time is great, but it doesn't do shit without action. And that's like number one, numero uno right there. You've got your brainstorm, you know what you need to do, but you then need to say, okay, my action season is going to be here, and I need to get there, and this is what I'm going to do. So embrace your season, allow to settle in it, and don't be ashamed if you feel like you need a breather. I'm not saying like throw away your business and everything. That's not what I'm trying to say, but understand that it's okay to know that you are in a personal season where you need to get your own head right and focus on personal development. It's okay to be in hustle mode. It's okay wherever you feel you need to be. Embrace it, settle in, and live in your season.
Amazing.
My gosh, that was so good. I was sitting here like tearing up.
Oh my God, yeah. Girl, another slow clap moment. Yeah, just like.
I want the girl with Turbo Jam on eBay. Yes.
I bought P90X off of Craigslist, so it's okay.
I had a burned copy of Insanity on a jump drive that I took to Germany. So.
Oh, that was so awesome, Brittany. I am so, first of all, I'm like completely blown away just being in this company with you guys, with Cara. Am I, okay, yes, I am unmuted. I felt like Cara's, everything that she said, the amount of time that she gave us just blew me away. Like, I definitely want her to coach me. I just thought that was amazing. So I am so honored to be here. For anybody who does not know who I am, my name is Suzanne, and I absolutely loved listening to you, Brittany, because the fact we both of our coaches are Mindy Wender. I don't think we've ever actually like spoke on a call together at all, but like, I have such a soft spot in my heart for like Mindy, and like back in the beginning, like, oh my gosh. And so much of what you said just resonated with me because like, I seriously went out. Like Mindy did not have to recruit me. I basically messaged her and said, I want to coach. Like, yeah, I was the easiest coach ever to sign up. I bought a copy of P90X off of Craigslist because we had some extra money from Christmas. And so I've been a coach 7 years now. I signed up June 3, 2010. And prior to that, in December, I probably watched P90X and wanted to do it, but I didn't dare ask for money to buy it. And we got money for Christmas. And so when my husband came to me and we were watching the infomercial together, and he was like, I want to do that. And I was like, yes, I want to do it too. And so we decided to spend the extra money that we had for Christmas on P90X. So of course, the first thing that we did is we went to Craigslist and we looked for a copy. And so we did it. We did the entire thing. And I tell you what, it was so fun and we loved it. We did it together. The only way I found out about coaching was because, was strictly because I didn't know what to do next. I had no idea what to do next. That's how I found out about coaching. I started looking on the internet. I started trying to, find out more about it. That's how I found Mindy. I was actually going through YouTube videos. I found a YouTube video that she did way back, when she was just started coaching, about coaching. And at that time, we needed it big time. We were super stressed. I am a mom of 4, 2 of which are on this call. Alexandra is my oldest, and then my next is Melissa, and then I have 2 sons. So we were, Alex had Zane. She was getting married. Melissa was going to college. We had Eric starting college. Seth was in every sport imaginable in high school that you could possibly do. Not even high school, middle school and starting. So I was seriously thinking about getting, my husband's self-employed. I worked with him part-time. And we literally were just it was all we could do to stay afloat. His business stayed steady, but it was back in 2010 when the whole economy, everything went to crap. And we were fortunate enough to stay busy, but we had no income coming in. We were not being paid. It was 90 days out, whatever. And so we had to keep materials, we had to keep everybody afloat. So we literally were not taking in a paycheck. So we had not a paycheck coming in if it weren't for my husband, who does rebuild cars. They also own a body shop. He was working, oh my gosh, nonstop around the clock. And I was just sitting there just going, what are we going to do? We were charging everything because we just didn't have an option. And what we first thought was, obviously you start out and you think, well, I'll just do this bill, or I'll just do these groceries. And then, over time. So I literally saw myself in a drive-through window at, 2 in the morning, taking orders. Cause I just thought I didn't go to college. I immediately got married after high school and had kids. That was all I wanted to do. And so the fact that I am here now, with you guys, just blows me away. So anyways, I was thinking, what in the world am I going to do? And it was at that time I found out about coaching. And I loved the idea because at that time, everyone in my family was buying P90X. Everyone, because I couldn't stop talking about it. Everyone were so impressed with our results. we really did good. I gotta say, I was 43 at the time. So seriously, I was old. Anyways, so to begin this whole thing,
no. I don't mean to interrupt, but I would run into my friends at the store and they'd be like, your mom's fucking ripped. And I would be like,
yeah.
She is. Yeah, she is.
All of Zane's friends, my husband now, my boyfriend at the time, thought my mom was so hot. And all of my girlfriends thought my dad was just smoking. And it was whatever, you guys. But yeah, they had good results. So go ahead, Mom.
Phoenix is solid. Okay, sorry.
You guys are so sweet. No, seriously, but we felt really good. We had a blast. Anyway, so I'm trying to shorten this up, but no, we literally I found out about coaching because of that. And I literally thought, oh my gosh, I could do this. I didn't know if I could do it, but I wanted to do it. And immediately I was like, oh my gosh, I've already sold this thing. It's I could do this. And so I just, I basically found Mindy's video on YouTube and I messaged her and I said, I want to be a coach. And she was like, okay, and so I was so nervous to sign up. It did take me some time just because I doubted myself, obviously. I had no idea what I was doing. No computer knowledge. No, nothing. The girls will attest to that. I still don't. So I remember signing up, no challenge packs at the time. I signed up for the $40. I had no idea what Shakeology was. All I knew is, and same thing here, platinum presenters. I tell you what, as far as training goes, I got on every single team call that Mindy did, every single like platinum presenters. And platinum presenters team calls were like at 10:30 on a Thursday night. And I literally did not miss that because it was the only way I learned. You know, it's like it was the only way to learn what to do. And so, you know, and why I signed up, I literally was just like, you know what? I could do this because of the fact that I saw that, like, I saw people who were successful. Mindy, like, I saw her be successful. I saw people who were. And I just felt like, you know what? If one person can do this, I can do it. I may not know anything. I may not have any experience, but if I am this passionate about it, if this is what I want to do, I can learn anything. And I kept hearing this, you know, I just kept hearing like, you could just jump and do it. And you will learn as you'll learn to fly as you go. And I literally took that to heart. And I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to pour myself into this and I'm going to dive into it. I was on every freaking call. And Mindy used to do she did this competition between her right leg and her left leg. And she would have like go-getter of the week and she would have all these different things going on. And I was like, we'd be on vacation. I'd be on the phone. I'd be listening to calls. There were no video or, you know, anything like that. Just because it's like, I wanted it so bad. And the one thing that kept me going, and this is totally true, and I'm going to say, I don't know what to offer you guys. I really don't, because I sit there and I look at what do I have to offer? Like what wisdom? And it's so simple. It is just literally the fact that if you don't give up and if you do not, you know, if you just stay consistent and you outlast a person here, you will be successful. I promise you. And that was my main thing. I was like, I don't care how long it takes me. I will be the last one standing. I will not give up. I will not give in. I will do the work and I will be the last one standing because I am that stubborn and I will do this. I will be successful. And I started setting little goals. And my goal, like my massive goal when I signed up as a coach, is I wanted to take the stress off of Eric's shoulders so bad. And I wanted to not bring him home because I never want him to come home. That is not my goal. Just kidding. He needs to work. So he's a worker. Anyways, but no, my main goal was to, you know, that first thing I wanted first of all to make $500 because I wanted to stop working part-time with him because I just myself from that. And then my big massive goal was, of course, I wanted to make $1,000 a week because to me, that to me meant that it was just, I would be so proud of myself. So I just had all these little goals that I wanted to reach and I just knew I could do it. And, you know, I was never the fastest coach. I was never the, you know, I was not the, you know, I don't know. I knew that if I just keyed into what my strengths were, and if I just keyed into, like, I knew that I could make people feel good. And to me, that was my strength. I knew I could be empathetic. I could make people feel good. And that's what I went on. And so anyways, so you guys, I mean, literally, only tip, and we're talking about just like, and like Cara said, and it's like, she's like 10 years for this like overnight success. Like if you just hang in there, if you just do the work, if you show up. Another thing that Cara talked about that really spoke to me was like, why are you here? You know, why are you here? And there's so many times I've asked myself that, and every single time I've, come up with this, like, I would literally do this for free. And I did for a long time. I'm not going to lie. It took a long time for me to see financial success. And I loved it. This is what I loved. My life is so incredibly rich because of what we're doing right now, because of who we're with and the company we keep and what you guys do and everything that we do together. I would do this for free. I am not even kidding you, just to hang with you guys. I am not even kidding you. And so, the fact that I've gotten to the point where I am earning 6 figures. I am, what this has done for my family, if I'd have known back when this, like, it's unbelievable to me that I'm where I am now. I think it's a freak of nature. It's a godsend. Literally, God placed this in my hands because, everything that has happened from June 3rd, 2010 to where we are on tonight, like right now, September 6th, 2017, it just blows my mind, the plan. And I really honestly feel like that. And the longevity, you guys, you got to hang in there, and you can't be swayed by any shiny object. You can't be swayed by anything that goes wrong. We did a call, and I love that you touched on that, Brittany, about, seasons in life. And that is absolutely true. We have been through some seasons in life where it's like this. It's up and down. It's up and down. And right now, even in your business, you may be experiencing a downtime. And just know that it all comes around. And all you have to do is focus. And all you have to do is put your head down. That's all you have to do. There is no difference from what we're doing now than what we're doing, what we're doing now and what we're doing before. Whether you are a top coach or whether you are just starting today or tomorrow, you focus on your to-do list and you focus on those basics and you stay consistent in that and you just keep your head down and you keep moving forward and you are going to be successful. And the reason why you're going to be successful is because 10 years from now when you're here, can you even imagine what your life is going to be like and how rich? And I'm not talking material wise or financially, but I'm talking everything that we stand for, this support group, this culture, this lifestyle. And yeah, you will be, because as far financially, yes, because that is what's possible. Our lives are completely changed. We have paid off our entire mortgage. We have we've paid cash for weddings. We have, I can't even tell you, the one thing, and I'm going to make this quick because I know I'm going to make this quick because you guys, we talk about knowing your why and we talk about knowing like, what is your vision, what's going to keep you here. And it's okay if it's like massive, like up here, that's totally okay. And I applaud you on that. I never had that. Like I had little things that kept me going. And there was one instance, and I'm just going to leave this because I really want to share this. But what really like did it for me is we were on vacation and I was just with the boy. Eric and I were just with the boys at that time because the girls were grown and they were gone. And we were coming home. We had gone to North Captiva Island in Florida. So we had to take a ferry there. You stay there anyways, ferry back when you leave. So anyways, we're literally waiting for a ferry and we had to check out. We're there like 2 hours early, maybe even 3. It was forever. It felt like a lifetime because we were starving. I am not kidding you. We ate all of our leftovers that we had because we rented a house. And we got to eat this stuff up. So we ate everything in the house, went to the dock and waited for our ferry. And at that time, it was lunchtime. It was getting past lunchtime. We were starving. And I literally was sitting there and we were like, and Eric and I were like, we can't, like, we're not buying food. And the boys are like, please, like, like they're grilling, that smell, they're grilling burgers. And I'm just sitting there just like, are you kidding me? Like, buy them a freaking burger. And it was like, no, like, we're going to wait until we get to, the main area. I forget where it was, Naples or whatever, or anyway, Fort Myers. And it's like, no, we're literally going to wait there so we can go to Wendy's because we can, you know, it's so much cheaper and we can get so much more food. And so it just made me so incredibly mad. It pissed me off because that was my choice. That was my limitation. That is what, like, that, like, are you, you know, that made me mad. I texted Mindy right then and there because we were talking about goals. And I remember saying to her, it's like, you know what my goal is? My goal is to walk into a freaking restaurant and order anything off the menu that I want. When I got real. And I literally cried. I'm tearing up now. Like, that's when it got real. That's when your why, and it doesn't have to be anything grand, but that's when your why becomes that deep inside of you. And you just make this shit work. You show up and it becomes so deep in you that you show up and you do the work and you keep at it. And if you do, you're going to be able to walk into any restaurant. And I tell you what, we were just talking about this. I spend so much, thank you. Alex and I were just talking about this morning. Maybe it was Melissa. We do a lot of talking. Anyways, I spend so much, no, it was with Melissa. I spend so much on food every single month. I am not even kidding you. Because like groceries, groceries are groceries. Like I care about quality, and I'm because of this, I'm able to do that. But I literally, I find so much enjoyment in going to a restaurant and taking my kids out to eat. And like we go to dinner and we go to eat, and you know what? I don't look at the price, and I don't order water, and I don't, like, it's not extravagant by any means, but what it is, it's the freedom. It's the freedom of choice. And to me, that means everything. So that's my story.
Slow clap again. Everyone is just like killing it. Oh my God.
I love like the, just the spectrum of like couldn't afford anything but $1 burger, and then it's like, do you know how much money I spend on food? Like,
Oh my God.
and it's so true.
It's just, yeah.
But I feel like those are the moments like that, this coaching thing, what we want to call it, whatever it means to us, like that's when it becomes real. When all of a sudden this isn't a job, it's not a to-do list, it's not just something else that's on your plate. Like this is the gateway between where you're living right now and where you want to go. And it starts with these little things, you know? And I just think like that's where you have those not only aha moments, but action moments where you start saying like, never again, never again. And so I'm just I love that story.
Everything changes as you move forward. Your whys, your things change. They grow as well. So you know what I mean? It's okay if you want to bring your husband home. It's okay if you want to put your kids through college. It's okay if you want the best possible care for a child or for your parents or something like that. That is amazing because that is possible. But, you know, I really wanted you guys to understand too, that it isn't just the, you know, these grand things either. It can be very, very simple, and that is meaningful as well. So I will mute my line. Melissa.
Yeah, I think I'm next. I don't know. I was like confused with the count with Cara, but it's totally fine. So I kind of want to go into the point where I almost quit. So it was just a fingernail away from stopping this business, canceling my coach account completely, just washing my hands of the whole thing. And now I'll just tell you where I'm at. I'm, again, a fingernail away from a six-figure earner. And so there was a point, it was about, I guess it was about like 3-ish years ago. So my husband's a builder, and at the time it was a licensing issue with the county, whatever. paperwork crap that I don't understand. And we needed to live in one of the buildings in order to homestead them. And so like that was fine. We did that. We moved in. It was small. It was not what we were used to. It was not in a neighborhood I was used to. You know, just mainly because Ernie's gone a lot. A lot of y'all know his schedule with the fire department and his obsession with hunting. So he has gone a lot, and that's totally fine. I love him for it, and it's probably why I'm able to build a big business. So we moved into this place, and we had lived in there, and a lot of the contractors knew that we were the owners, and that, you know, Ernie paid a lot of the contractors. So I guess that somebody, and this is speculation, this was never proved, so we'll just go on record. This was speculation by me that this was the inside job, that somebody knew that we lived in this particular unit, and that Ernie paid out the contractors. So one day our place was broken into, and I was the one that found it. I was home before Ernie that night, and I walked in, and it sounded like ice chips falling. I walked in, and I slammed the door behind me, and it sounded like ice chips falling. I even said out loud, like, what the hell is that? Like, out loud, nobody was in the house. And then I was like, oh, it must have been the ice maker. Like, that's fine. So I put my purse down, and I walked to the back of the apartment. I mean, it's like 5 steps. It's super small. And so I walked to the back of the apartment, and I looked down, and there was glass all on the floor. And I looked up, and I immediately knew that somebody had broken in the house. And my first fear is I didn't know if they were still in there. And so that scared the shit out of me. So I grabbed my purse, and it was a blur, and I ran out. And I flipped the bottom lock. That's all I knew how to do. And I ran out, and I got in my car, and my brother-in-law's house was the closest house to that apartment complex now that we still own. And I drove there, and Ernie wasn't answering the phone. He was on a job, and he sometimes sweat. Well, no, he all the time sweats really bad. So he doesn't keep his phone in there because we'd be filing insurance claims every day on the phone. And so my mom was playing tennis, and I knew where she was playing. And I called the front desk, and I said, this is my name. My mom is playing on the tennis courts. This is an emergency. I need to speak to her right now. I didn't know what else to do. So they walked out with the cordless phone, and they said, you know, your daughter's on the phone with an emergency. And I told her what happened. And after that, it just felt like nothing mattered. It felt like I didn't feel safe in my own home, which is the craziest feeling for a woman, right? Especially a woman that their husband's gone a lot, you know, being a first responder. So the way that the fire departments work here is they're 2 days on and 4 days off. And so every 4 days I would pack a duffel bag, and I would head to my parents' house, which is 25 minutes. And then for 4 days I would live in my own home. And it was the craziest thing. And so there was one night, and I said, I'm going to be a big girl, and I'm going to stay in my own home. I can do this. And I was up all night long. And the picture, I have it saved somewhere. I think I sent it to my mom. The picture, it looked like a battered woman picture. My eyes were so swollen. I hadn't slept all night. I was so nervous that somebody was going to come in the house that night. And I never did it again. And I was going back and forth between the homes. And it was a coach at this time, but it wasn't like everything was just falling apart. My husband didn't understand that the home was really important to me. We were newly married, and he didn't have sisters, and you know, it was a different dynamic at the time. Obviously, we're 10 years in now. Everything's good. We're fine. We're still married. But I text Andrea, who is my coach, and I said, I can't. I said, I don't know. I don't have anything in me to give anybody else. And she said, take whatever time that you need. And she was like, I believe that you're going to make this a huge business, but I believe it's going to be on your time. And I said, okay. And then I started coming back, and I started finding myself again. And I said, you know what? I'm going to prove myself. I'm going to prove to everyone that I can do this. And I'm going to prove to everyone that I have something to give. And if I had quit, you guys, I was so close. I had a team of somewhat, I think I had hit diamond or whatever. And my team was falling apart, and it was inactives and whatever. I wasn't even logging in my coach online office, and I was so close to just canceling the coach account and being done with it. And I can tell you, if I had done that, I wouldn't have the team that I have today. We're about to break we're about to be in the top 1,000 of the entire company, which is insane. I wouldn't be a fingernail close to 6 figures. Like, I wouldn't be all of these things if I had thrown in the towel and given up that day and that such a dark time for me. And sometimes even when I like recite the story, I'm like, oh, it sounds so ridiculous. Like, they didn't take anything, like whatever. But it was traumatic for me. So whatever that situation is for you, know that if you give up, you're giving in. You're giving into your dreams. You're giving into everybody that told you you couldn't do it. You're giving into whatever lie that you've told yourself. And so if you keep on, like 3 years from now, like, you can be in the most amazing place ever, and just know that you're that much closer to your dreams. And that's all. And I did not plan on crying. God, I've told that story without getting upset before. It's totally fine. But okay, that's all I have to say.
I don't know how I'm gonna like follow that, because oh my God, girl. Oh, and I know we've had that conversation on the phone before, and it's so powerful to hear, as it is, I'm sure, for you to say, and just where you are now. And I mean, like, the milestones you've hit in like the last week with investing with Amanda Francis as your business coach. And it's just, I don't know, that's like, I think that's what it's all about. Because
if anybody had told me even 2 years ago that I would have just signed a $5,000 contract with one of the best mindset coaches in the world to just help my team take it to the next level and share with you ladies, I would have said, you really need to check into a clinic and get some medication.
Yeah, seriously. Like, the fact that you've gotten to the point where that is you did that. I mean, it's incredible. So I'm going to try to follow this. Oh my God. I'm looking at like my sticky notes and I'm like, okay. I should rewrite all of these. So, okay, guys, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Melissa Breslin. I have been with Beachbody actively for just over 3 years. I have been a coach for, I think, about 7 years. When my mom signed up, she enrolled all of her kids to get herself to Emerald, Ruby, and Diamond. So I have been a coach for about 7 years. I've been actively involved in the business for about 3. I started actively working about 8 months after I graduated from college. I have a degree in marketing, and I was working, I was working in accounting after I graduated, and then my husband started working he got a job offer from Nestle Purina in Georgia. So that's what brought us from Michigan, where we are from, to Atlanta right after we had graduated from school. So I had been in the working world for about, I was a December graduate and we moved in May. So I can't think of months and numbers right now because I'm just public speaking. But either way, it was a very short time. And I got to Atlanta and I was looking back, it was one of our biggest blessings. But at the time I was homesick. If you've ever moved to another state, it's really, really at first you grieve that life you had prior to, and you have to rebuild this new life. So I was very adamant that I did not want to work in Atlanta. I wanted to, but I couldn't just be a stay-at-home wife. We don't have kids. I need to work, but I didn't want to work for someone. I guess I probably should make that clear. I wanted to work. I just didn't want to be an employee. I come from a family of entrepreneurs. My dad is a self-made. He runs a very successful business. He has since he graduated from school. My mom is a 6-figure earner with the titan of industries, which is Beachbody. My sister is as well. We're a very entrepreneurial family. So it came into my life just by association. I had used the programs. I had lost over 40 pounds, just under 50. So I was very in love with the the idea of it. But before I give all these like feel good vibes about coaching, like I said, I've been coaching for, it was 3 years in August. I have not worked a second job since I started. My husband is an engineer. He has supported our family on a single income up until basically this last year. And I have gone months without making a single Success Club point, a single, I don't want to say sale, but a single sale. I have gone months without enrolling a coach. This past March, I was out with my sister and I missed Success Club, and I, in my head, I was done. I couldn't do it anymore. I felt that I had given everything that I had to give. And I felt that I wasn't being, I was in this like place of like, I don't want to say pity for myself, but I truly felt that I had given so much and I was getting so little in return. Which I mean, it's so like, it's so weird to look back that I ever had that thought, but I did. And I said to my mom, I stopped at her house on the way home and I just said, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. And we got in the biggest fight we've ever gotten in. And like my mom and I don't fight. Like we like hang out like on the weekends and like we're like best friends. And it was just so crazy. And I remember I was like leaving the house and she said to me, she was like, would you do this every day for free for the rest of your life? And in my head, I was thinking yes, but I was so frustrated about not hitting Success Club and about like, I just felt like I felt like every single month I just let my husband down and I just let myself down and I put so much of myself into this. And I knew though there was in the back of my head, even though I was feeling proud and I was feeling, I didn't want to admit this. I knew there was a reason that I had not quit. I had seen a little bit of success, but it wasn't what I had, envisioned, but there was a reason why I was staying. And I think like hearing Cara, especially at the Power of I Am at Summit, she talked about how it took her 9 years to get a book deal and like, why you're here, why you're doing this. There's something that I think will hold you or won't. And if this is where your passion lies, there's going to be a reason why you stay. So to I guess bring things, I guess when it changed, we went to Pensacola last November. And we met Heather Lee and Andrea and all of the Misfit girls, and they just really inspired us. We've linked arms with them. We've become more than just business friends. We're best friends. And then at Summit this past year, I attended an event called The Power of I Am, and there was something at that event that just really, really spoke to me. And I guess everyone has that aha moment, and I can't say what it was. I remember I cried the entire time, but it was just so powerful, and it just all made sense why I hadn't quit. It was like, I would do this every day for the rest of my life because this is where my passion lies. I love what I do. Losing this would be so much worse than that petty shit of I didn't hit Success Club, or this is hard, or I'm frustrated. I loved this so much to where it was all worth it to not lose this. So I have had quite a comeback story in the last few months. I think anyone who's worked with me for a long time has kind of seen that transition. And I talk about mindset to my team 24/7, and they're probably like, if that girl says the word mindset one more time, I'm gonna like lose my shit. But I'm telling you guys, I didn't see an ounce of success until that changed until this whole, like, I'm owed this. Until that stopped, I did not see anything. When I would answer my messages and I would think that someone was doing me a disservice by saying no to me. All of that just projected this bad energy out into everyone I was talking to. And so I know how hard it is when you hear no's, but you'll find they lessen when you grow and when you, I guess, get past that employee mindset of the fact that I showed up today. I should, be compensated for that. And you become a business owner and you say, I am going to be here every single day and I'm going to look in the mirror when things don't happen for me and I'm going to fix me. You will see it's almost, and I don't want to say it's instant, but it like kind of is. Like it's so fast. So I went from almost 2.5 years of basically no income to I'm on track to being a 6-figure earner. When I last ran it, it was by the end of 2018. But my goal is by summer of 2018. So like a little less than a year from now. And that was within like 4 months of basically being like this going nowhere. And it changed with my mindset and the fact that I can't lose this. This is what I'm meant to do. You guys, like Cara mentioned, your confidence in this will come from failing forward. I can't give specifics of why and how, but I just know that the people who don't quit are the people who are sitting on a call like this years later and who have what seem like overnight success and what seems easy. And when they tell you just to keep trying, you think to yourself like, well, you're not hearing no's. You're not going through what I'm going through. They have, but they've continued from there. And I'm going to wrap up because I know I'm getting kind of scatterbrained. But so I'm doing a course with Josh Coates called The Art of Leadership. I just finished Art of Recruiting, and I will put that in my book or Nobel Peace Prize or whatever as a game changer for me. But he talked about when you become an entrepreneur, especially in an industry like ours, people see you on this big bridge and they see all the boards except a few missing. So it's like this wobbly, creaky bridge and you're over this big moat with alligators and sharks and toads and just nasty, just gross. And they see you walking across this bridge and they're just like, oh, okay, oh God, all right, good luck, but each month, day, year that you stick with this, a board is added to your bridge and your bridge becomes more sturdy and people begin to watch and they begin to feel comfortable journeying on this with you. You guys, the first 6 months, and for me, that was my story. There are people who replace a full-time income within 6 months. That can be you. I'm not saying there's no time limit on this business. There's literally no ceiling. For me, it took me a long time, but I always said I'm going to be that coach that is going to be so fucking successful, and it's gonna even though it took me 3 years, who cares, you guys? It took me 5 years to get a degree. I would never trade that. You think that that's a long time? It's not. It is not a long time, and it doesn't have to take you that long. I am so slow. But anyways, you guys, the longer you are in this, that bridge is going to become more sturdy, and you are going to have you're going to gain confidence from that structure and that stability, and you're going to find that people are I guess they're going to look to you in a different light. You're not going to feel like the world is just like looking at you like you're doing this crazy thing and they don't get it. And like everything is just so like new and strange to everyone is going to look to you and say, how do I get on this with you? Because I tell you what, some of my most successful coaches are people who I never ever thought we would ever cross paths. And I tell you what, it's from staying on that bridge, even when it's wobbly, even when the boards are falling, even when, it starts raining and it's just awful. You stick with it. I tell you what, those boards are going to multiply. That bridge is going to become sturdy and you are going to walk across with pride. And you're going to do it. So that's all I have to say.
Holy fuck. Woo! Rob, God damn.
I'm sorry, I feel like I'm the one who brings all the swearing.
Oh my gosh.
So good.
So, like, no pressure for me or anything to like wrap this call up.
No, oh my gosh, like I don't want to take too long to like transition, but I'm just like, I talk to you girls every day. Like, for fuck's sake, you're my mom and my sister. And I'm like sitting here, I'm just like staring. I'm just so like honored to be a part of this crowd. And like, I'm going to be just really honest with you guys. I didn't prepare anything for tonight because I have found that, I mean, I don't recommend this if you're not like, my style is not what I totally like say you should do. But I just find that like when I seriously like just kind of pray and like ask God, angels, universe, like speak through me, like what do people need to hear, like be in the moment versus trying to like try and like premeditate that beforehand. Like I feel like I do better just with that. So I apologize if this feels a little scattered or off topic, but just I really love to feed off of like what the vibe is tonight. And what I'm really seeing is just such a strong like you can't miss it, just thing of resilience and perseverance and evolution. And I'm just like, I'm so pumped up from that. So I just want to share pieces of my story that involve that, just to kind of close it and also kind of leave you with some takeaways that you can bring forward in your own business and hopefully like just wake up tomorrow with just so much fire in your gut and just such a feeling of purpose and that I can do this because obvious stories. So I'll just let you know if you're not familiar with me, I'm Alex. I have been coaching for like ever as well because I am one of the children that my mother signed up to help her get to Emerald, Ruby, and Diamond. And I had, yes, cheers to that. And it's so funny because like, you know how you tell like your coaches, you're like, oh, sign up like a sibling or a spouse or whatever. Like literally my mom took all of my prospects. Like all of our friends signed up like with her. So, I mean, it works, right? So anyways, I swore I would never, ever, ever, ever coach. I had done home businesses before, and I had such a bad taste in my mouth because I had failed so miserably. My ego was hurt. I'm a teen mom. I had my baby when I was 17 years old, so I was a baby myself. He's my little ray of sunshine now. I met my husband when I was 12 years old. We had him at 17. He joined the Marine Corps. I went to college, and we got married when my son was 5. And, you know, when I graduated from college, like I had like this, like, you know, I've always, and maybe you can feel the same way too. I've always had like this feeling like I was meant for something really big. And it wasn't something that was egotistical or like I'm better than anybody. It was just like, I have something to share with the world. And I just don't quite know what it is yet, but like it's something big. And I'll let you know, I'm the world's worst employee, the world's best entrepreneur. I only work good for myself. My dad literally fired me. I know everybody's like, no, she sucks, she's terrible. I used to work at my other jobs and I'd work on my Beachbody business and then like sign up on Facebook when like my boss would walk by and be like, I'm taking inventory. So I was that person, and it's not because I'm lazy. It was just because I've really only ever believed in like building a dream in my life for myself. So I had believed that lie that you hear, that is go to school, get good grades, get into a good college, pay your dues, do the grind, you will end up married with a white picket fence, a dog, a cat, and 2.5 kids, and you will work that 40-hour work week plus some overtime, and you will wear the suit and carry the briefcase and rush from a soccer game to the carpool and everything else, and you will retire at some point in time, hopefully, and have a happy life, right? And just try not to be one of the 2 couples that get a divorce. And I wanted that. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like, to me that was success. Like, stress was success. If you were that person who was, you know, wearing that blazer and looking all sweet in your pencil skirt, like, that was success to me. And so I worked very hard, especially to beat that stereotype as a teen mom when I was going to school. So I graduated, and I got a lot of thanks, but no thanks. And at the time, like I told you guys, my husband was in the Marine Corps, and he had been, well, he was a sweetheart. I had scholarships to GVSU here in Michigan. You guys probably don't know what college that is. It's not like a major one. But he had done the reserves, so I could stay close to family. We could raise my son, or our son, and, you know, I could go to school. But his deployment got canceled 2 weeks before our wedding. And along with that cancellation, like, we lost his job, everything. And I had actually just, like, pretty much decided to quit my current job. I was a waitress, and I was working in sales and promotions at a salon. And so basically, long story short, I guess, like, not to give you guys, like, every detail of our lives, I graduated with this hope of this future that got smashed, because it's not like we had already not been hit hard by life, but then when I was the only person bringing in money and that wasn't enough, and there's too much month left at the end of it, it's really defeating. And I was scared, you guys, like, and I was too proud to admit it, but I didn't want to go to the grocery store, go shopping, or go out with friends and fear that my debit card was going to get declined. I felt guilty because I couldn't go to happy hour with people. And, like, I would from work would always, like, want to go and get half off drinks and apps. And I, like, literally couldn't afford the $2 house vodkas, because that was the difference between buying some groceries or, you know, not. And so I remember checking my account one day. My mom had asked me about coaching a few times, and I just always told her, like, fuck that. That's cool for you, but I'm never doing that. Like, I'm a professional. I have a degree, and I just thought, I'm never doing it. So then I checked my bank account, and I had to go get groceries, and I had bills due, and there's a lot of month left, and my bank account said $29.97. And I just remember, like, my heart sank from, like, up here into my stomach. And I was just like, I have to fucking figure this out. My husband was not working at the time. He was laid off, and he was trying to do, like, side jobs just to bring in extra money, but that wasn't guaranteed. And I definitely wasn't, like, bringing in enough to live comfortably and also pay everything and whatever. Maybe you guys can associate. But I remember, like, swallowing my pride and, like, messaging my mom, because I was really jealous of her. In fact, maybe some of you can feel the same way too. When you watch other people who are successful, I had this horrible envy problem where I was like, you know, that's really nice for them, but, like, the rest of us. And so I was actually really, really jealous of my mom. And it took me swallowing my pride to, like, message her and just be like, hey, I'm going to maybe give this coaching thing a try. I'm not going to make it my career. Look where I am now. And I literally wanted $20 so that when all the girls were going to lunch, that I didn't have to be like, oh, I brought something else. Like, I just wanted to be able to throw down my $10 so I could get a sandwich from somewhere, or go to happy hour and not feel embarrassed. So I fell in love with this business and the products and the integrity of it, and decided, like, I'm a really bad employee. I might as well work for myself. And so I decided to make that leap. And, like, it's just such a, I truly believe this is kind of more where I'm going with what I have to share with you guys. And I promise I'm going to try and keep this really quick, but I don't want to, like, I don't want to miss on the good stuff either, because my story is, although kind of tragic, it's really impactful. So I just so believe in divine placement and divine intervention. And I believe that there's a force out there, whether you're creator, whoever you believe in. I'm not here to tell you who to believe in, but whoever it is, God, the universe, angels, whatever, this opportunity landed in your lap for such a huge reason. And it wasn't because of the current situation that you're in right now. It could possibly be for something that's coming down the road. So you remember I told you that I was world's worst employee, and I wanted to make this my career because all of a sudden I started like imagining things like for my family. Like I started seeing us being able to go on date nights where I didn't have to worry about what glass of wine I ordered and if it was house or if it was the actual Pinot Noir I really wanted. And like I started seeing us traveling and being able to afford the things that we just never could before, and not having to hide under excuses and not having to make up lies to our friends and family about why we couldn't participate in stuff because we were too proud to say that we couldn't afford it. You know, we wanted to look like we had it together, especially because we were teen parents and trying to figure it out. But so I started to build this business, and I saw some success with it for sure. Started going on trips. I was able to quit my jobs. I said sorry noise to my employees, and I hired myself. And I was really loving it, and we were doing really well until last September. And this is where this business really became such a blessing. I don't know, those of you who know my story, I lost my husband in a really tragic accident a year ago on Monday. He was killed by a gunshot wound in our house. It was an accident, misfire. I got the phone call from my son, and like, okay, I just want to tell you, like, this is ugly. So if like you're gonna cry, grab a Kleenex or something. But I got the phone call from my son saying, "Mom, you gotta come home." I was at a bridal shower at the time. He said, "I think Dad's dead. He's laying in a pile of blood." And I just rushed home. My heart sank again. But like this is the kind of earth shattering you never ever think is gonna happen to you. And I got home, and it was true. And I held his hand, and I prayed. You know, it was like, I have to be there. I have to change this. Like, I can do anything. I have defied the odds before. And like, for some reason, I thought I could play God too, but I couldn't. So in that moment, I lost everything. We lost our home. I had to move out because I couldn't stay there. He died in our living room, the place that we had set up our Christmas tree, where we had open Christmas gifts, where we had shared pizza and wine and listened to records on the floor together for how many years? We started dating when we were 12. You know, this home we had shared for years. And, you know, and that night I grabbed my sweater and I grabbed my computer because for some reason I thought it was going to work the next day. And my life had so drastically changed. And to be honest, my business wasn't on my mind, to be honest. It was just... Heather Lee's your chat. And I didn't know how I was going to come back from this. One, I was humiliated. I'm like, why would you be humiliated? This is something that you can't control. But two, how the fuck do you try and inspire people when something like this happens in your life and where you can't even get out of bed? Like, I remember laying in my bed and just praying to God, like, please, just take me, because I don't anymore. I don't have anything to give people. I don't have any heart or any passion to share. And, you know, it's like, and I'm ashamed to say it now, but it's just where I was, and this is just my truth, and this is a vulnerable call, so I'm going to share it with you guys. My son wasn't enough to keep me here at that point in time. But I swear to you, there was a circumstance where I believe it was God or somebody, and they just said, get the fuck up. I am not fucking done with you. Because I mean, I was seriously suffering from panic attacks and throwing up and shaking. And like, I was living on a steady party diet of vodka and Xanax. And, you know, I'm a positive and resilient person. But when you're in that situation and when your world is literally like an atomic bomb went off in it, your head goes to the deepest, darkest places that are fucking terrifying. And so I'm not saying that you guys have, you know, maybe you have experienced something like this and you're like, you're trying to be strong and keep that in. That's okay too. Maybe you've experienced something that maybe isn't the same thing, but it feels like that. And you feel like everything is on your shoulder. All I can say is that this business has the divine, weirdest way of being such a healing in the same time. And I spoke about this earlier because for whatever reason it was that day that I heard this, get the fuck up, I'm not done with you. That's where my new vision came from. And it was that I'm not done yet. And to be honest, I don't know. Like, I was actually kind of nervous about this call because I'm like, where am I going now? Like, I really don't know. Like, I don't have like this like uber clear vision. And I feel kind of disconnected because over the last year, I've done so much growing and I've like done so much changing and just so much like, I don't know, like you just literally like you shred who you were before. You'll never be that person again. But in the same time, you just become so much more of like, so much more passionate and such a deeper person, and you just love more and you appreciate more, and you don't ever wish that anybody would ever have to go through this, but you just wish that perspective. So I just decided to start sharing my story and just that evolution and just evolving and just owning it and just becoming, and I call it becoming bulletproof, which is kind of funny considering that he died from a gun accident, but I kind of like it because I really do believe that through our hardships and through our failures and through our life experiences, and this is why you're qualified to talk about this. This is why you're qualified to be a top coach right now, is because you have experienced things in life that nobody else has, and that's why they look to you, because you can be that shining example. And this business really, really, it sets you up for success, not just, you know, Beachbody is just a catalyst. You know, your message is so much bigger than whatever goals you have with this business. Like, you want to be a six-figure earner, that's great. You want to be elite, you want to be premier, you want to be top coach, millionaires club. That's all so good. But what people are watching for is not those accolades. They are watching for who you are and what this business, what this life, when it pushes you down, how are you going to stand back up? How are you going to rock this? Like, how are you going to, like, literally, like, I always, like, refer to it as, like, ripping your chest open, like, pulling your heart out and putting on the butcher's block and saying, this is who I am, this is what I believe in, and this is where I'm going. And this business gives you all the tools to do that. And we do it with our personal development. We do it with keeping our, you know, our workouts. They matter. That was, like, when, like, 3 weeks in, I started focusing on doing max 30, and I just remember thinking, like, this is nothing. Like, but it gave me something to focus on that wasn't my pain. And that's, in my opinion, when you surrender to just serving other people and you just dig deep and you realize that this is a journey, and just like, you know, you may not go from signing up to top coach in a year. It might take you, like Cara said, she had like 9 years of like this like constant grit. But you have to get really, really serious about whatever it is. And so for me, I guess to end it, where am I going right now? Where am I at? I just have really fallen in love with like reinventing myself and taking people who need to be there on that journey with me. And I've met the most amazing people from just sharing that and just saying like, this is who I am. And I really love the fact that when people meet me, they don't know what fucking happened to me because I'm surrounded by this community. You know, I could easily have like gone off the fucking deep end. I almost did. And, you know, but it's like, I just have such an energy and a zest for life now and a passion. It's so much because of who's here and who's in this business and who you're surrounded with. And God, you're so lucky because that's our team. That's who's speaking on this call right now. Like that's your clique. Pretty cool place to be, right? So I guess for me, where I'm going, I just, if we're being really honest, my child's been through enough. I don't want him to ever have to worry about bullshit. Like, you know, not being able, like the point that we're at, not being able to afford groceries. You know, I want him to have this like really amazing life where we travel, because the day that my husband died, one of the first things I said to him is I knelt down and I grabbed him by his little shoulders and I took his little hands and he was crying. I just said, baby, God does not make mistakes. And we are going to live an amazing life. We're going to make amazing memories and we're going to have a lot of laughs. And I don't know where Beachbody's going to, like, Beachbody's obviously going to play a role in that because that's my catalyst. Like, that's my vehicle to get there. But what's going to take you there, what's going to take me there is being open and willing to, like, never give up, get up on the days when it's hard, celebrate those moments, even if you are just brushing your teeth and that's your win for the day. That's okay. You can be in a season. You can pull back. It doesn't mean abandon your business, but it does mean you have to dig deep and you have to focus and you have to be so fucking stubborn about that you're not going to go down like this, that you're not fucking done yet. So I think that's all I have, honestly. Oh, there's a call to action. You guys, what I want you to do tonight is get somewhat clear about where you're going. And if it is just something small, I want you to look around and see what pains you. What aren't you happy about in your life? Remember, to me, it was like, I just want to go to happy hour. You know, now it's so much more of like, I'm a single mom now, and I think that so many of us can relate as we were talking on that call. Like, what if it is just you? I had that experience. And thank God for this business, because I was able to, like, I don't work another job. I do this. Like, and I'm able to be there for my son. I don't have to worry about a man to take care of me and, you know, all that stuff. So get clear about what you want in your life. Don't make it complicated. If you don't have this grandiose vision that you want to save the whales and be Miss America, like, that's okay. It could literally be like, like, I just want to be able to go to the store and buy Starbucks coffee because that's my favorite versus the Folgers. Like, to me, that was one of my earlier goals. Or the house wines $5, my favorite Pinot's $6, I'm going to get the Pinot. Like, it's not always the big things, but it's just living life on your terms. So that's my call, my takeaway, call to action for you, is just figure out what you want in life, because honestly, you guys, it's so fucking short. Do not let this business turn into a to-do list. Allow it to be like that vehicle that's going to just like catapult you into your dream life, because you guys, like I said, this business comes into your life for a reason. I know exactly why it came into mine at the time it did. My guess, praying to God that nothing tragic happens to you, but you're not here on accident. Not a fucking chance. So I think that's all I have. I feel like that's a good place to stop.
Press the red button and be like,
crap. Holy cow. If there was a dry eye in the seat or in this like entire call, then I just don't even know. Girl, that was amazing.
Oh, thanks.
Maybe I'm just trying to compensate for how much I cried, but
I know, there's like so many tears and like nobody expected it. Well, like we know, like obviously, like, you know, you've committed so much time this evening, but like we know that you got something out of it. You got exactly what you were supposed to get out of it. And so please, like, reach out to your coach. Let them know, like, how much you enjoyed this call, like, you know, like what we can help you with, you know, whether, you know, whatever season that you're in, like, that's what we want to be here for. And
we do life together.
Yeah, we really do.
Together, 100%. So are we good to end?
I think so.
All right. Love you guys. Thank you so much. And we'll see you in the team pages. Bye, y'all.
bye. Thank you.